Welcome to Sunny Springboard with Melanie and Kimberlyn Coaching, where we help women become confident and thrive after toxic relationships. Have you had situations, maybe you're going through a divorce, or you went through a divorce, or you're having pain and grief from various different things, and sometimes it just feels so bad. I just feel so sad and so depressed. I feel so anxious and frustrated and worried. I don't feel like I'm ever going to get back to normal. I can remember a time in the past when I was happy and I loved life and I was excited about the future, and I just don't feel like I'm ever going to get there again. Do you possibly have some memories where you think, well, these were really bad. I felt really bad. This was really sad. I would have never chosen to go through that. But today, looking back, I feel like I'm a stronger person. I'm maybe even happier than I was before. I'm definitely more helpful to other people. I'm more powerful. I'm actually better than I was before. Have you ever felt that way? I've actually been both ways. I've had the times when I thought I'm never ever going to get over this. I'm never ever going to get better. And yet today I look back and I actually feel like I'm better than I was. And this is what we started talking about last week. Hang on, let me share my screen with you. So I told y'all about this. I started telling y'all last week about the speech that I heard with Mr. Tal Ben Shahar, talked about how to become anti-fragile. If you remember, we talked about resilience, that we usually talk about when we want to be resilient. And that means when you put pressure and stress on something, then when you let it off, that whatever that the object goes back to normal. Like when you bounce a ball or squeeze a ball and it pops back. And for us, we're generally wanting to be able to get back to normal, back to where we were before. But what if we can actually get back to better than we were before? And this is what we're calling resilience 2.0 versus 1.0, and we're calling it antifragility. This is where we don't just get back to where we were before, but we get back to bigger and stronger and more powerful and happier than we were before. We talked about last week the idea that we all know about PTSD as post-traumatic stress syndrome. And we also talked about how we want to be PTG, which is post-traumatic growth. In order to have the post-traumatic growth, we have, first of all, to give ourselves permission to be human, which is what we talked about last week, that it is actually okay to feel those negative feelings and emotions. We just accept them, let them go through us, and move on out. And we're able to just keep moving on. So permission to be human is the first condition. The second one we're going to talk about tonight, the pandemic, but not the pandemic you're thinking. We're talking about the pandemic before the pandemic. Next week, we will talk about giving. So what is the pandemic before the pandemic? Yeah, stress. Stress, even before COVID came, was at pandemic proportions. They did a survey and found that 94% of college students were stressed. This is before COVID. If the college students are that stressed, what about the moms, the dads, people in working their corporate jobs, the single moms or the working moms? There's so much stress going on in our world in all the different areas. No wonder we feel overwhelmed and frustrated. And at the same time, the stress is not the problem. I've told y'all this before, that stress is not the problem, it's our reaction to the stress. Today we're going to take it even a little bit further. So remember that with your muscles, when you stress them out, it's good. So sometimes stress can be good if we react in the right way. So when we're working out, we're putting stress and pressure on our muscles. We're actually tearing them just a tiny bit. And then as they grow back, as they heal, they grow back stronger and more powerful. What happens if you work out all day long? You never take a break, and you do this all day, every day, and you never take a day off. You never take a break from working out and lifting all those weights. You're going to end up tearing some muscles, and they're not going to heal. you're not going to get stronger. What if you're running that 10K and you're running so great and good and you want to stay at the front of the pack and feel so good, you don't ever stop for your water, for your snacks, you don't ever take a little break, you just keep running, running, running. When you do that, you're not able to finish the race because you did not take any time for recovery. So stress is not the problem. The problem is a lack of recovery. Here's another example. The cars on a NASCAR racetrack. So they're running, 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 and the car's running great, and the guy's feeling great, and he says, I'm doing so good. I'm at the front. I'm not going to take a moment to stop and do the pit stop. I'm just going to pass that by. I don't have time for that. I got to just keep running. Well, we know that car's not going to finish the race. It's not going to get the gas, the tires, all the things that need to be checked to make sure they're still going well, and the recovery time that the car and the driver need are not going to happen, and it's not going to finish the race. So this is our problem. Stress is not our problem. Our problem is that we do not put any recovery into our life. So people who are successful, who are happy, who are healthy, find a way to make islands of sanity in their stressful, hurried, busy, crazy modern lives. How do we do that? We're going to talk about having 3 different ways of doing this. We want to energize ourselves with a multi-level recovery. The micro level is talking about minutes and hours. The mezzo, or the middle, would be nights and days, and the macro is weeks and months. So the micro level of recovery, Mr. Shahar says that he suggests that every 2 hours when you're working, you take a 15-minute break. During that 15-minute break, you can do various things. Whatever it's good for you, you can meditate, you can go walk, you can visit with friends, you can have a meal, not a meal while you're working. You have to go away and just sit there and enjoy your meal. Just something to get your mind off of this, off of your work, and just to let your brain relax. Another thing you can do during that time is to breathe. I've taught you some breathing techniques that are helpful to regulate ourselves. He mentions the one he likes is you breathe in for 5 seconds, hold it for 5, out for 5, hold it for 5. I've done the 4, he does the 5. Whichever way works for you. Breathing is actually everything that I hear and I learn. Breathing is one of the #1 ways that we can recuperate, we can recover, we can give our brains a reset so that we can keep on with our day. He told a story about someone who was called into a business. This was a trading business, so they're on the trading floors, and the people are stressing out, they're quitting, they're in burnout, they're not performing as well as they should. And so they call this guy in to help them learn to relieve their stress. So what he wants them to do is what Mr. Shahar said. He says, every 2 hours, I want you to take a 15-minute break. And they said, no way, we cannot take a 15-minute break. We cannot be away from the trading scene that long. You know what can happen in 15 minutes? Major things can happen. We cannot be that long. He says, well, what about a 10-minute break? They say, nope, nope, nope. 5-minute, nope, nope, nope. Finally, he gets them down to, they say that they can take a 30-second break. He says, okay, every 2 hours, take a 30-second break where you get away quickly, you walk, you breathe, you do something to take a break from the stress that you're having. And he says, I want you to do it consistently every day, every 2 hours. And so he had them make little alarms and signs. They put signs around the office, on their screensavers, on their phones, on their watches, whatever it took to tell them, okay, it's been 2 hours, it's time for my break. And just to do the 30 seconds every 2 hours. So we had them do this for a month. Is that right? Oh, no. Actually, he told them he wanted them to pause. He wanted them to close their eyes and take in 3 deep breaths, 5 to 6 minutes through the nose. Obviously 30 seconds, they don't have a whole lot of time. But has them breathe in, do the breathing exercise 3 to 4 times a day, 3 to 4 times each time, every 2 hours, and day in, day out. So for 30 days, he had them do this. They came back and they checked them, and after 30 days of only doing 30-second breaks every 2 hours, they said the difference in the performance, the difference in the way they felt, how calm, how stressed out, how non-burned out they were, was significant. So just that tiny bit of a break can help you. Now, obviously, if you can do the 15-minute, that will even help you more. But if you can only do 10 or 5 or whatever, just find a way to do a break off and on through your day. This will help you so much. All right. The next thing for this mini break thing is exercise. He could not say how much. He just kept on saying how important exercise is. He says exercise is like a wonder drug. He said if you will exercise 30 minutes 3 times a week, mildly aerobic, doesn't have to be super aerobic, but mildly, you want to get a little sweaty, you want to get your heart thumping a little faster. If you do this 3 times a week, this has the same effect as the most powerful psychiatric medicine. You know what that means? So that helps you get your dopamine, your serotonin, your norepinephrine, all those feel-good chemicals. You can get those from exercising. You might not have to take the psychiatric medications. Obviously, don't go off of it yourself. But if you start doing this and you feel better, then you could talk to your therapist or psychiatrist about that. But he just went on and on about exercise. He said that for elderly people, if they're regularly exercising, it decreases the chances of Alzheimer's by 52%. That is significant. They just have to exercise 3 to 5 times a week to get these major benefits. And for you, 3 to 5 times. 3 is the minimum. If you can do 5, that's even better. But exercise is so important and so helpful. I hope that you will try to find a way to put that into your life. It can be walking, it can be running, it can be dancing, anything that you enjoy that gets your body moving a little bit. And I have to tell you, I used to hate to exercise. Growing up on into my 30s, I did not want to get sweaty. I did not want to move my body. And then I got into some situations where I started learning to walk and enjoy walking. And then I started doing some aerobic with my friend. And though I didn't really like it, I liked doing it with her. And then I just kept on going, and I learned how, I had a friend, then when I got to downtown Houston, she was teaching an aerobics class. I started going with her. And again, I didn't really like it that well, but I started liking how it made my body feel. And I just kept the habit. It's so hard to make the habit, so easy to lose the habit, that I just keep doing it. I don't feel like I'm exercising as powerfully, as working out as hard as I used to. And I want to do that a little more, but I still love making my body move. And I really feel a difference in my overall wellness, psychological wellness, body, physical wellness. Just moving your body is just great and wonderful. All right, now the next one, the middle way, level of getting yourself some islands of sanity will be nights and days. So number 1, he says sleep. Everyone tells you sleep is so important. Again, I have a little bit of trouble getting as many hours of sleep, but I have to say when I do sleep, I sleep solid and good. And so I'm working to get to bed a little earlier, but overall, I think my sleep is okay. But if you're having problems sleeping, it will keep you from recovering from the stress. So try to have your nighttime routine. Don't do your phone. He goes, if you go to bed and you can't sleep, don't worry about it, because that's going to keep you up. Don't do your phone. Just lay there and relax, or you could read a book. I cannot read a book because then I just want to finish the book. So whatever works for you to help you calm your brain and get some good sleep. And the other thing is, take a day off every now and then. So many people or working and I can't afford to take a day off. I can't, my job needs me. I have too much to do. Just take a day off, be with friends, have a spa day. If you play golf, go play golf. Just something to relax, let yourself breathe, and take a break from the daily grind. And then the last one, many of us can't do this. This is maybe a goal on your bucket list. Take a vacation. Take a week, take 2 weeks. If you could take a sabbatical and take a couple months, that would be even better. But if you can at least maybe do a 4-day to a week, once or twice a year, I actually, in March, I did like a 5 or 6 day and it was amazing. I'm getting ready to have a vacation with my BFFs and my son family and some of my other family, and I'm excited about that. But just some time to get away, to rest, refresh yourself, and this will help you have the post-traumatic growth, not just the post-traumatic stress. So just as a reminder, gotta have permission to be human. Today we talked about stress and how to regulate ourselves from stress, which was in pandemic proportions even before COVID. And then next week we will talk about giving. Meanwhile, if you would like any help with any of this, if you're thinking, I have all this stress, I don't see a way out, I can't figure out a way to put these concepts into my life, I would love to talk with you about that, to see if we could have a coaching relationship. There's a link in the show notes. You can schedule a free coaching session and we can talk and visit. Meanwhile, you could also listen to my videos on my YouTube channel. That link is also in the show notes. And I actually have a new website. You could go check me out at KimberlinCoaching.com. Meanwhile, I hope you have a great week. I'm not hoping you have a stress-free week, but I'm hoping that you're able to have some moments of recovery in your stress so that you can experience Resilience 2.0. Next week, we'll finish it up on the giving aspect. Have a great week.